Judd.
My name is Rich.
And this is a comic strip AP of Burning Wheel featuring the saga of Locien Western. When we last saw Locien, he was chasing a wizard who had thrown a fireball at him and his friend Jalarzi. And he chased him through the streets, almost lost him, but then he turned an alley and it was a dead end, and so the wizard took out a dagger, and Locien had his magical phoenix sword summoned into his hand, and they were squaring off.
That is right.
You also had the spell up, Locien's Burst of Speed, which lasts the entire conflict, so that's still up.
Yes, it is. That was 2 advantage dice that I have.
Yep. So here's what I'd like to do. We're in this alley, and he's got a dagger and you've got a sword. And I just want to know whose footwork has prevailed. So we know who, is he inside your sword, or are you keeping him at bay? And then we'll do the bloody verses. I should say that that's not something we normally do with bloody verses, but I feel like this is an instance where I think it makes sense because the alley is there, and either one of you could be using the length of your weapon to an advantage or a disadvantage. And I want to know who's got the advantage.
I like it.
Cool.
Yeah, that works for me.
You're going to roll speed plus 2 dice.
Okay. My speed is normally 4, so this is 6 dice.
Yep. And tell me how many successes you got.
I got no successes.
Holy cow. Yeah, he got 1. So I don't think this is real pretty, stunning footwork. He turns to face you. He curses he says he's going to kill you and bind your spirit to his dagger. And I think you kind of skid to a stop, but as you skid, he steps into you.
Okay.
He's inside the point of your sword.
Very well.
Let's get our dice together for bloody verses. So here's what we do. For bloody verses, we divide the weapon skills into 2 pools, one for attack and one for defense. Then each player rolls attack and defense. The successes in the defense subtract from the attack, and then we see who wins. And that's it.
Okay. Now, is this merely the skill, or is this a combination of a stat and skill?
This is just the sword skill.
Oh, damn.
But we get other things, too.
All right.
Okay, so hold on. There are other things that come into it, too. Do you have armor?
I do not. Can I fork in war-wise or soldier-wise?
You're not fighting a soldier, so I'm going to say no. And this isn't a war. This is a back alley brawl with a knife and a sword. I'm going to say no on that.
All right.
So I think with the weapons, he gets the advantages. What's Locien's reflexes?
My reflexes are a 4.
Okay. What's your sword skill?
2.
Okay. And I'm going to give you 1 bonus die, an advantage die for the speed spell you've got up. I feel like that's going to help.
All right.
And that's it. He's got 4 dice total, but that's only because of the advantage of being inside. He's not really great with a knife.
Okay.
You're going to divvy your dice into attack and defense.
2 in defense, 1 in attack.
He's doing 2 attack, 2 defense. So I'm going to roll defense and then attack first.
All right.
His defense, 2 successes.
And I have failed.
Yeah, he basically overwraps your arm and gets in close so that you can't bring the sword to bear, is basically what he does. And then his 2 attack dice versus your 2 defense dice. He hits you.
All right.
Okay, so he does an ob 4 hit, or a black 4 of damage. He does a superficial bit of damage to you.
Okay.
So here's what I'm going to say happens. He gets in close, he stabs you, and then you hear the hues and cries of your archers coming, and you're crumpled up against the wall, and when you manage to pick yourself up, he's gone. Because that's really what he wanted out of all of this anyway. He wanted to get the fuck away. So I'm going to give that to him.
Yeah.
You're bleeding a little bit. You're a war wizard. This isn't a terrible wound. No arteries were hit. Nothing terrible. As you're picking yourself up, your archers fan out across the alley, and Gazer of Hommlet comes up to you. She says, "Boss, you all right?"
I'm more wounded in my pride.
You're bleeding a little.
Yes. Is Jalarzi well? Was anyone hurt?
I mean, one of her henchmen got caught in the blast, but No, Jalarzi didn't get hit at all. I mean, she had something up. It looked like the fire just went all around her.
Good.
Boss, can I?
Yes.
She like takes you kind of to the side, like away from the other soldiers, away from the other archers. And she's your second in command, right?
Right.
She's like, when we're playing stones, you always beat me because you surround my stones and turn my stones to your color. You know what I'm talking about?
I do, of course.
All right. Because I feel like what you just did is you just threw a stone at another stone and hoped it flipped up the right way.
Yes, I was out of sorts. I thought that I knew the streets better than I did, and by the time I was upon him, it was unwise. Thank you for your reminder.
She nods. I didn't know I was following a hero. I thought I was just following a war wizard.
Well, it seems that it's more of a war wizard you should be following. Hope it's scars to remind me of this foolishness. Let's return.
Cool. So I feel like there's another belief in there that we could do. I mean, if you're feeling it. Do you want to? Because we have two beliefs.
We do.
I will recover the eye and hand of Vecna to resolve the Cold War, reuniting the Circle and maintaining stability in Flanness, which is an awesome one. And I will ensure that my archers are hired as city guards, which is another awesome one.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like, do you want to write a third belief about that wizard who just stabbed you and ran?
Yes, the skull-faced... I shall bring the skull-faced wizard to heal.
Nice. Cool. And now we have three beliefs. And all is well in the world. And I feel like we could also make an instinct out of some of that, right? Like your talk with Gazer, we could figure out a belief so that maybe you are hot-headed and you just run. Like, that's cool. Let's make an instinct out of that. But let's think about that.
Yeah.
So that you can gather some Artha for being you.
Yeah.
So there are definitely city guards all over the place now. I mean, there was a fire in the bazaar. They're like organizing bucket brigades and trying to figure out who the hell started this. You can see the sergeant guard on the watch talking to Jalarzi, who is speaking with a lot of authority, and he's definitely listening to her, taking what she says to heart, because she's on the Council of Eight, and that is no joke. When you get back to the bazaar and you see them, Jalarzi and the sergeant kind of approach you. She says, "You took off like a shot. Like one of your archers loosed arrows."
Yes. Not that it did a great deal of good. I was able to face off with a wizard who cast this fell bit of magic, but he escaped me in the end.
You get a good look at him? The sergeant says.
I did. It was bald, but he had a tattoo upon his head of a skull.
Huh.
Do you know of this man?
He's not a local wizard. He's not in the Society of Maggie. I'd remember that description. Must be from out of town. I'm Sergeant Muron.
Very well, Sergeant Muron. I am Locien Wester, an ally of Jalarzi, and we must find out who this was, who they were attached to. If they are not local, then why are they here? If there's anything I can do to aid you, please let me know.
He nods. He says, "This is best left to the watch. I know you wizards like to get involved, but leave it to the professionals." And Gazer, you see her like shaking her head, clearly doubting.
Sergeant, let me ask you a question. I have returned to Greyhawk, where I have an apartment here. I have a company of archers. Where can I find them employed that can best serve Greyhawk? The free city of Greyhawk.
Says, "Well, I don't recognize the livery. Where are they from?"
This company, I've picked them up from all over. There are some from Hommlet and other parts of Flanness. They have sworn themselves to me and, of course, to the free city of Greyhawk. I think that they would be excellent city guards.
They've served with a wizard, huh? I mean, they don't have much fear of a wizard, is what I'm saying.
We have taken down a few wizards in our day, and they have no fear of them.
He nods. I mean, we could pay him 20 copper a day, just on sheer wizard duty with all this feuding going on. And that's like, when he says 20 copper a day, like Jalarzi's jaw drops, Gazer sucks her teeth. I mean, that's a real low ball figure.
Sergeant, I appreciate your offer, but I believe that their experience in the field is more valuable than that.
Nice. Make a haggling roll.
I have 2 dice in haggling.
Yes.
Here we go.
I know.
I have failed.
Man, you can't roll.
Terribly. That is snake eyes.
You're bad at this game. Okay.
I am not good at the burning wheel. It's more like a smoldering wheel.
Oof, 2 traitors. There's just nothing to be done with that. He sticks to it. He sticks to this really, just an insulting amount of money.
I understand, Sergeant. I will not allow my men to work for that amount. I will continue to pay them for my own kaffa until you find greater value for their services.
Oh, nice. He nods at that, and as soon as you say that, it's clear that that's what he wanted all along, right? He wanted you to say, I think there are a lot of people who assume that you're a wizard, you're rich, right? So, yeah, he says, they're hired. He says, have them meet me by the old gate tomorrow at dawn.
Very well.
And you can take a persona for having completed that belief, and you will need a 3rd belief. So that's something to think about before the next game.
All right.
Shall we end there?
Yeah.
Cool.
Soundscape music was found on tabletopaudio.com. If you want awesome music for your game sessions, try tabletopaudio.com.
Hi, this is Jason from The Gauntlet. If you enjoyed this episode of Comic Strip AP, be sure to check out our YouTube channel. We have many other Comic Strip AP shows available, each organized in their own sequential playlist for easy listening. Just go to youtube.com and search for Gauntlet RPG.